Oh shit. Here we go again.
Yeah, let's get to Akkha, Guardian Ahead. Alright, so basically, let's go over some overhead prayers, what attack style you should be using, the rotations, and the special attacks that you will encounter during this Akkha fight. Alright, so let's get started. The first rotation that Akkha is going to use is he is going to have range and melee overhead prayer on him, on top of him, as you can see in the clip. So for your first rotation out of 3 that you're going to be using melee prayer as your overhead, and you're going to use magic as your attack style. Until he slams the ground and changes attack style, that is exactly what you will be using. Alrighty, so as you're sitting there and you're maging him, the biggest thing I would take out of this is, so that you're not getting meleeed, is to kite him around the arena. Basically that means attack him, move, attack him, move. As you can see, the pedestal, we're just going to go with the map, is cut out into 4 different pie shapes. We'll get into that later, but once those shadows of him pop up, you'll see them in each of those corners of the pies. That's usually when he will change into his second rotation. So now that you've seen that his shadows have spawned in each piece of pie, corner, whatever you want to call it, that pretty much means that you took out 20% of his health. So if you do the math, you're going to, once you get down to 80% of his health, that's when it's going to pop up. 60%, 40%, 20% will be the last one. And basically the goal of these shadows is you want to start attacking them, because there will be a bar right next to them on the wall where there's an hourglass. There will be a yellow bar that will continue to fill up. If you do not kill that shadow before that reaches its limit, basically it will do a special attack from its own attack style of that pie. So each pie is represented into different attack styles. Like you have the lightning, you have the shock, you have the fire, and you have the dark. And I should have a picture of that here in a second. Now that we can see that Akkha is going to slam a spear into the ground, we know that the second rotation is coming up. So you can tell that by his newly overhead prayers, which have changed to mage and range, which means that you can't use those. So yep, you guessed it, you'll be using melee as your attack style for this rotation, and you will be using range as your overhead prayer for this rotation. So now we started the second rotation. Akkha wants to play his Simon Says or Memory Blast game with us, which pretty much means the indicators on the floor are going to flash. You want to memory, put them in your noggin there. Remember which ones are highlighted, because you're going to have to follow those in a sequence. So for the following video, it's going to be black, yellow, black, red. Now, let's say that you get mixed up and you stand on the wrong one, you're pretty much going to take that typeless damage. So if you're standing on the red accidentally, you're going to take flame damage. Stand in the ice damage. The skulls, who knows, just death skull is what I call it. And then the lightning bolt is pretty much lightning coming down and striking you. The best thing to do is just try to get back on track, stay calm, and just keep moving. So at this point in the rotation 2, obviously you just got done doing one of his special attacks. You want to make sure, I didn't in the video, was go ahead and put on your melee gear and put on your protect from range, because this is the second rotation and that's what you want on. You also want to make sure that you go back to the slice of pie that you originally killed the shadow in to do enough damage to Akkha to move to the next quadrant, slice of pie, whatever you want to call, so you can start damaging the other shadow in that one to continue moving forward. So now that we see that Akkha is going to go ahead and do his third and final rotation before resetting back to rotation 1, is he's going to have his mage prayer up, his melee prayer up, and he's going to use magic to attack you with. The biggest takeaway for this is for you, you're going to use range as your attack style, and mage will be your overhead prayer. And for his next special attack that he will use, they're always random, is that he will turn you completely dark as a character. And basically, you do not want to move when you're in this state. You want to stay put, just do damage to him, and then when it goes away, continue what you were doing. Not only do we have the memory game again, we will also be transitioning back to rotation 1, which, yes, if you've been listening, your attack style will be magic, and you will protect from melee. Yes, sir. Now, I currently don't get the his last trailing orb special attack during this. At least I don't remember seeing it in the video. But yes, it's pretty much orbs that will follow you, that will trail behind you, and if you step on those, they will explode, doing a huge amount of damage. So if you're walking and you see orbs around you, just pretty much don't back up and, retrace your steps, if that makes sense. So once you get him down to 0 HP, he's going to heal himself up some, and this will pretty much be the end of the encounter with him. The only dangerous part about this is that there'll be white orbs that are spawning around you with direction arrows, and you pretty much want to avoid those while attacking him. And it's pretty simple. I mean, sometimes you'll take a lot of damage if you're unlucky, but just stay out of the way of them, and it's an easy fight to the finish and moving on. And that is the end of the third raid boss in this series.